city under the watch of the central government, the Home Minister, the LG, and the Commissioner of Police. This is the gravest act of impunity that we have seen in recent times. Nothing can be more shocking and shameful. Did not the Delhi police have any intelligence on this planned assault? If they did not, their intelligence gathering was pathetic. If they did, it was an atrocious failure of responsibility. In either event, the Commissioner of Police must be held accountable. We condemn in the strongest terms what happened in the JNU campus yesterday. We demand that the perpetrators of violence be identified and arrested within 24 hours and brought to justice. We also demand that accountability on officers be fixed and action taken immediately. If there are any questions on this short statement, we'll take those questions first and then we'll move on to the subject for which the media conference was scheduled. Yes. So as I said, it cannot be that there was no intelligence. If 50 goons are planning to launch an assault and are acquiring masks and other gear, it cannot be there will be no intelligence. I am absolutely sure there was intelligence. Either they winked their eye or they connived with the perpetrators, which is why this terrible incident took place yesterday. So the buck starts with the Commissioner of Police and stops with the Home Minister. Even the ABVP does not say the Congress party. Even the ABVP says left. The Home Minister is obsessed with the Congress party. Even the ABVP does not say Congress party. It is to send a message that we can do anything. We can get away with anything. As I said, it is a grave act of impunity. Because we are ruling at the center, our members can get away with anything. It is to send a message of intimidation, threat to the common people of Delhi. But this is precisely the occasion when the common people of Delhi must rise and reject lock, stock and barrel the BJP in the Delhi election. Has he not made a statement on the JNU? I mean, I don't know. I've not been following TV in the morning. I saw it live and I immediately tweeted. I was shocked. I mean, I can't believe this is happening in India, in Delhi, in the year 2020. That on live television, 50 masked men will go in and attack students and teachers. Where was the commissioner? Why did the commissioner not rush to JNU? It is a cognizable offense of violence is taking place. You don't require anyone to invite you to come and quell violence. That's the duty of the police, to quell violence. In Jamia Millia, there were protests. The violence was perpetrated by the police in Jamia Millia. Here, violence is at the instance of masked men. The police have a duty to enter and stop the violence. We are repeating and reiterating, this is a descent into fascism. This is no longer creeping fascism. This is a rapid descent into fascism. All that we see is fascist actions all around. In Jamia Millia, in JNU, in UP. In UP, they said 21 people had died at that time, and the Chief Minister and the DGP said, none of our guns fired. I've yet to see a gun which doesn't fire but will kill. And today, one by one, in Lucknow, in Varanasi, in Firozabad, they are admitting, yes, we fired.
Thank you. I'll request him to proceed with his principal statement. It starts.
The statement has been distributed, I think, isn't it? Oh, it will be distributed. I'm not going to read the whole of it because some of it is our well-known position on CAA, NCR and NPR. We are putting it down so that there is no ambiguity, no confusion. But I will read the material portions. Let me begin by offering all of you, on behalf of the Congress Party, our greetings and good wishes for a happy, prosperous, and peaceful New Year. At the end of 2019, unfortunately, most people were not happy. The economy was certainly not prosperous, and the downslide was continuing. Peace was a casualty. Lynchings and rape were rampant. Protests had broken out all over the country over the CIA, NRC, NPR threat. At least 25 persons were killed in police firing, hundreds were injured, and thousands were arrested, and there was fear and anger everywhere. We are gratified that students and youth are in the forefront of the protests. It lifts our spirits and aspirations when we see thousands of young men and women stand up for liberty, equality, equal protection of the laws, pluralism, secularism, and constitutional morality. The CAA sets 31st December 2014 as a cutoff date. It concerns persons who have already come into India and not those who will come hereafter, a point that is usually missed. It concerns persons who have already come into India. The CIA identifies 3 countries. It identifies 6 religious groups. And the Act says, if a person is from one of the 3 countries and professes one of the 6 religions, even if he had entered India illegally before the cutoff date, he would not be considered an illegal migrant and he would be granted citizenship in India. That's what the Act says. Now, a number of questions have been raised. I raised it in the Rajya Sabha. Subsequently, everyone has raised these questions. Not one question has been answered. If it has been answered, one of you please publish the question and the answer. 3 neighboring countries have been included. Why have the others been excluded? Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and Bhutan. 6 religious groups have been included. Why have Muslims been excluded? The most persecuted minorities in South Asia are the Tamils of Sri Lanka, both Hindu and Muslim, the Rohingyas of Myanmar, the Ahmadiyyas, Shias, Baluchis and Sindhis of Pakistan, the Christians of Bhutan, and the Hazaras of Afghanistan. All these groups have been excluded. Why? The absurd and discriminatory provisions of the CIA can be illustrated in just 2 examples. While Hindus will be allowed, Sri Lankan Hindus, mostly Tamil, will not be allowed. While Christians will be allowed, Christians from Bhutan will not be allowed. Why? At this stage, we must answer what the Prime Minister said 2 days ago. He said we should protest in favor of the Dalits and the Hindus and the Sikhs who were persecuted in Pakistan. It's a bogey raised by the Prime Minister. Let me make it clear. We are not opposed to granting refuge and eventually citizenship to any person included under the CAA. Our concerns arise regarding the persons excluded under the CAA. It is obvious that the exclusions are deliberate, premeditated, and intended to harass, humiliate, and strip a section of the people of their citizenship. The answer to the problem of refugees is not CAA, but a humane and non-discriminatory law on refugees. The CAA does not spell out what will be the fate of persons identified as illegal migrants. There is talk of putting them in camps. One camp to house 3,000 persons is under construction at a cost of rupees 46 crore in Goalpora district of Assam. Eminent scholars, sociologists, and NGOs have raised several questions. If lakhs of people are identified, how many camps will the government build? Where will these camps be built? Where will government find the money to build these camps? Will the illegal migrants remain in the camps for the rest of their lives? What will happen to their children? Will they also remain in camps? Will they have education? Will they have health care? None of these questions has been answered. Our conclusion is the NRC is a sinister and mischievous plan to divide India. Under NRC, every person residing in India has to prove that he is a citizen of India. All over the world, in liberal democracies, if a state suspects that a person is not a citizen, the burden of proving that that person is not a citizen lies on the state. On the contrary, under NRC, the burden of proving that he is a citizen falls upon the person concerned. This is contrary to the basic tenets of democracy. It is by applying this perverse burden of proof that 19,06,657 persons have been identified as illegal migrants or stateless persons in Assam. No one knows what their fate will be. As a result of the implementation of both NRC and CAA, the persons who will be directly affected will be the Muslims of India. All other religious groups, even if excluded under NRC, will be included under CAA. Only the Muslims will be identified as illegal migrants under NRC and excluded under CAA. Naturally, there is widespread fear and uncertainty among the Muslims of India. Now they've raised a new bogey, the NPR bogey, and said UPA did it in 2010. Let's get the facts right. The widespread protests have forced the government to backtrack on what the Home Minister and other ministers had said in Parliament on many occasions, most recently on December 9 in the Lok Sabha and December 11 in the Rajya Sabha. The government has therefore come up with the idea of NPR and has attempted to liken it with a census-related exercise undertaken in 2010. There is a world of difference between NPR 2010 and NPR 2020. Let me repeat this. There is a world of difference between NPR 2010 and NPR 2020. It's like chalk and cheese. NPR 2010 was conducted in a few states when there was no controversy about NRC and without the unhappy experience of the Assam NRC. Secondly, there was no CAA at that time. Thirdly, NPR 2010 gathered data in respect of only 15 fields. Let me repeat, 15 fields. On the contrary, NPR 2020 will be conducted all over the country. It will be done in the background of the disastrous experience of the Assam NRC and the discriminatory CAA, And the form that will be used in NPR 2020 will have many additional fields. For example, they will ask you, what is your last place of residence? What is the place of birth of your parents? What is your voter identity number? What is your passport number? What is your driver's license? What is your PAN? And what is your Aadhaar? Now I want to ask, who added these fields and why were they added? In terms of text and context, NPR 2010 and NPR 2020 are very different. NPR 2020 with the additional fields is a disguised attempt to do an Assam-like NRC throughout the country, and therefore it must be stoutly opposed. The NRC CAA NPR exercise is part of the RSS BJP plan to push its divisive agenda for Hindu Rashtra. The Constitution of India embodies values of equality, secularism, humanism, and constitutional morality. In order to protect those values, every patriotic Indian has a duty to fight the pernicious doctrine of Hindu Rashtra. That is why thousands of people, especially students and young men and women, are in the streets to save the idea of India and save the Constitution given to us by Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Abraham Lincoln saved the Constitution of the United States in 1865. Our task and our duty are not different. While the fire lit by the hurried passage of CAA rages across the country, the economy continues to sink. There has not been a single silver lining in the last 6 months. Year on year, imports are down 8.37%, exports are down 2.21%, direct tax revenue collections are only 41.6% of the budget estimate, credit growth to industry is a paltry 3.4%, manufacturing output has shrunk 3.8%, the fiscal deficit will breach the budget limit of 3.4%, wholesale price index inflation is at 1.92%, and CPI is at 5.54%. Food inflation has crossed 10%. As warned, they didn't listen to our warning. The cut in corporate tax rates did not boost investment. Private consumption has declined significantly. The government has run out of money to spend or invest in the last quarter of 2019-20. It is obvious the government is clueless and seems to think that ignorance is bliss. So we shall stop here and take questions on CAA and the economy if you wish. Yes.